The police budget has not decreased in the 7 years I've been on the council. In fact, it has increased. And while the budget has increased, guess what also increased? The crime in the community.
But it was an increase that wasn't approved by the council for fiscal year 2021. So was there a mistake on the council?
There was not a mistake. We believe that police is not the end-all solution to addressing crime in our city.
But you want to defund the police, but then you want to call the National Guard to come in.
Get your children.
That's right.
DC has a lot of resources. They have a lot of resources, an abundance of resources if you need help with your kids.
We know it's tough times. And we know the price of food has skyrocketed in the last 3 years.
Stop giving your money to woke corporations that hate you and your values. That's why I order all my men's shaving products from Jeremy Razors. Order your Precision 5 starter set today. This set comes with 4 razor blades, sharp as true, with tungsten handle and flip back trimmer. You're not in the market for razors? Jeremy Razors also has other facial products fit just for men. So you don't have to stock your bathroom with products that clean your body but stains your conscience. So shut up and shave. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use CBurns15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code CBurns15 to save 15% off. Washington, D.C., their citizens are concerned that grocery retail store is planning to leave if they don't figure out how to stop the violence and the unnecessary theft. They might be closing their doors. So much so that Chawanne White, he's the 8th Ward councilman, he's trying to get the National Guard to help. That's how bad it is. He wants the National Guard to come in to help with the craziness and the violence.
The uptick in crime has led to a growing concern that the Giant on Alabama Avenue could close its doors soon. News 4's Megan McGrath is live outside Giant Food corporate office in Landover with more. Megan, good morning.
Well, good morning. Access to grocery stores where people can buy nutritious food. It's an ongoing challenge for people who live east of the Anacostia, and there are growing concerns that the Giant Food on Alabama Avenue in Southeast could close its doors because of issues with theft as well as violence at that location. Now, later today, Ward 8 Councilman Chawanne White is going to hold a press conference at a health resource fair that's taking place outside that Giant on Alabama Avenue later today. Now, he's going to be addressing those concerns, those fears of the community about the store closing, give an update, and talk about what needs to be done to make sure that the store does not close. Now, Giant released a statement to us saying that they have no current plans to close the store, but that statement goes on to say we need to be able to run our stores safely and profitably. The reality is that theft and violence at this store is significant and getting worse, not better. As a result, it is becoming increasingly more difficult to operate under these conditions. Now, Giant says that they have put measures in place to try and make things safer, to cut down on the theft and violence, but frankly, they need some help. They need the community to get involved. Again, the councilman is going to address the concerns, and they're going to try and come up with some solutions to make sure that this store does not close. Back to you.
The solution is to call out these criminals. You hold them accountable. That's the solution. Stop trying to defund the police. Make policies that if they get caught, you will actually prosecute them. But of course, this is Washington, D.C., one of the progressive cities in the nation. And check out what this guy said, Chawanne White. He's blaming theft on inflation costs and lack of jobs. Well, you elected Biden, Joe Biden. That's why inflation is here, that people can't afford food. This is called BideNomics.
Store open.
We're gonna work with John to keep this open.
A call to action to save an oasis of sorts in what is otherwise a food desert in Southeast D.C.
Taken from this store is really taken from yourself.
Councilmember Chawanne White says he's met with management and Giant who tell him they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars due to shoplifting in this store alone.
We know it's tough times, and we know the price of food has skyrocketed in the last 3 years. But we cannot afford to hurt ourselves by constantly taking from the store, because that means that everybody is going to be without a place to eat. And enough is enough.
News 4 reached out to Giant, which says it does not currently have plans to close the store, but, quote, The reality is that theft and violence at this store is significant and getting worse, not better. As a result, it is becoming increasingly more difficult to operate under these conditions. We've invested in a host of measures to mitigate the issue at this store and across many stores, but we also need the help and partnership from the community and local officials to truly combat the theft and violence that continues to escalate, end quote. Those who live here say the store is vital to the neighborhood.
This is like the corner store. It's not just a supermarket. If I wanted a soda, I'd have to come to the Giant. A bag of chips, I'd have to come to the Giant. If I want groceries to feed my whole household, I would have to come to the Giant. So the Giant is essential. It's like the anchor for this particular area.
This Giant on Alabama Avenue Southeast is the only full-service grocery store in all of Ward 8. If it were to someday close, the nearest grocery store after that would be the Safeway, nearly 2 miles away in Ward 7.
We don't go way up to the Safeway. You see what I'm saying? We come at this Giant. And it helps me because I live right down the street. I bet I can get around.
And making sure the store is around for everyone is top priority. Councilmember White says there are resources and programs available for those in need of food in Ward 8, so shoplifting is not necessary. In Southeast, Mauricio Casillas, News 4.
So they saying shoplifting is not necessary because they have food resources, but they're not stealing food. They might be stealing food, but they stealing like goods and stuff that they could sell on the street, because more likely these people got food stamps, so they could probably get their own food. They stealing stuff that they can't get food stamps with. They're gonna be out of a grocery store. So I guess it's gotten so bad because this council member, he's calling on the National Guard to help with the crime.
Past weekend, a D.C. council member now wanting to possibly call in the National Guard.
Let's get right out to Fox 5's Stephanie Ramirez live along Good Hope Road, where an emotional news conference wrapped up today. Stephanie?
And guys, there's a mass shooting just behind us here by 16th Good Hope Road that killed 3 people on Saturday. One of them was a 35-year-old father named Bernard Hodges, who went by BJ. His mother telling us that he worked 3 jobs, one of the most recent working HVAC at MGM. She says he was just leaving the store here, and this is an area where he would often feed the community. Well, it's that community that officials and community leaders are calling on to help end this gun violence. The victim's mother joining Ward 8 council member Chawanne White today in their calls for change. And yes, a very important part of that conversation was also the council member wanting the National Guard to possibly help end this violence. Listen to some of the emotion we heard today.
Get your children. That's right. DC has a lot of resources. They have a lot of resources, an abundance of resources if you need help with your kids. Because some of you know exactly what your youth are doing.
So we're tired of this. And enough is enough. Excuse my language, but I want to be quite frank to the young men and young ladies. We saying it's not okay for you to load up 30, 40, 50, 120 rounds in a gun and shoot about a community.
Hey guys, after this, the council member told reporters that he has also spoken with the National Guard to find out what they need in a request, which is a very clear definition of how many members, what they'd be doing, and the length of time needed. The mayor previously pushed back when I had asked her after the July 4th mass shooting why violence then didn't constitute calling the National Guard. Councilmember White noted today that a lot of the shootings are also happening right in front of police officers. He wants the presence of armed, sworn military members who have police arresting powers. And he also raised concerns today about the issue of not enough police officers to patrol Southeast. So we did also ask about the council reportedly moving funds or moving to defund police in 2020.
That's not true. The police budget has not decreased in the 7 years I've been on the council. In fact, it has increased. And while the budget has increased, guess what also increased? The crime in the community.
But it was an increase that wasn't approved by the council for fiscal year 2021. So was there a mistake on the council?
There was not a mistake. We believe that police is not the end-all solution to addressing crime in our city. And as you know, those resources reallocated to social service programs.
Did you just hear that? They wanted to increase their budget. You're saying that the police is not end all be all to settle crime in the neighborhood. You said those funds was allocated to social programs. So you do want to defund the police. If the police need more money, but you want to defund the police, but then you want to call the National Guard to come in to help police. Does that make any sense?
And asked why the council can't do both, the council member said by the time the council gets the budget that it is already planned there. It's already balanced, guys. And so the council member said that something does need to change, and he also said he plans to meet with the acting police chief sometime later today to discuss the National Guard request. We also spoke with the union, who blames the council and police reform changes from 2020 on the staffing shortages and the violence we are seeing today. We also reached out to the deputy mayor's office. We'll have the full response for you guys on our new Fox 5 app. You can download it for free on Apple and Google Play stores.
It's their fault. They defunded the police. And now you're crying, oh, help me, help me. We need the National Guard. But you don't want the police to have a budget to hire more people, to train more officers, to patrol streets, to prevent stuff like this from happening. You don't want that. And I go all the way back to what I was saying now. I go all the way back to what I was saying. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about reading. Reading is the fundamental gateway of everything. It's the people that shoot out here shooting them up, bang, bang, causing all these violence. They're young black men. And those are the kids that can't read, or the young men that can't read. They probably haven't finished high school. Some of them dropped out, and most of them can't read beyond the 4th grade level. That's the problem that we're facing, because we have a failed school system. We allow parents not to be accountable for their children, and we allow others, these politicians, not to be accountable, because we're saying, oh, they look like us. That identity politics, voting for Democrat policies for the last 60 years. And you can't even go down the street. They said the young man was volunteering at the soup kitchen and they shot him. Does that make any sense? And this guy is active in his community, trying to help save his community. And his life was taken by his community. Go back to that Cori Bush, that video that I put up, how she spent tons of money on private security. And she said, whether you would rather me die, what you want me to die. And she's supposed to be a so-called activist prior to her getting elected. The police is not going to harm you. You know who's going to harm you? Is your own community. You'll die by the hands of your own community, your own community that you're trying to save, because you're trying to play that identity politics, and it doesn't work. Kyle said in BideNomics, Taylor Swift concerts boost the economy. Maybe so.